By the former Tory leader Iain Duncan Smith. Let's start with those talks first of all. What chance of success?
Well, it's difficult to see how they'll be a success. I mean, I don't know, I'm not in them, but Labour's agenda seems to be all over the place at the moment. They say they want a customs union, but they also say they want full alignment with the European single market, which is pretty much the equivalent of being in but having no say. And they're also now divided about whether they want a referendum. One half of Labour saying unless they have a referendum they shouldn't agree, another half says they won't. So it's really a mess, and I don't see how Downing Street in the course of this week is going to be able to produce a solution which unites Parliament. Certainly they risk losing a very large swathe of their party, not just those who voted against the agreement. They would then walk away on the basis of adherence to the customs union. So I think this is wishful thinking. There is a way out, and it is the government going to the EU to ask and demand now that we thrashed out the alternative arrangements to the backstop that exist. Do it now before the withdrawal agreement comes back. I think they would agree to that. I'm certain they would. And if we did, we could do it in 2 weeks to get this organised, and then it would have a wholly different position for the government going back to the withdrawal agreement.
But when you talk to Downing Street, they say, look, we've tried that. We spent a lot of money in it. We spent hours and hours talking about it. It wasn't successful. It's not going to work.
They're talking complete and utter nonsense. What they thrashed out was a process that had nothing to do with alternative arrangements. Their facilitated customs arrangements were dead on the day of their departure. That was months ago. This is a completely different process, which is based on existing customs, routines and systems. No new technology required. Now that has already been 10 hours in discussion with government, and there is no way that they've been able to do anything else but accept it could work. It depends on the negotiation about what the EU is prepared to do, but they haven't even approached that yet. So we have simply said to them, do it. Do it now, and you could resolve this problem without having to go through this tortuous rigmarole of talking to a Labour Party that frankly doesn't even know what it wants for certain.
What about Mrs May's own position? You probably heard Nigel Evans this morning saying he would like her to set a date for her departure today.
Well, you know, that's a matter for the 22. At the moment, the Prime Minister has said she's going. She said she would go after her agreement is settled, but she is going.
Well, could that go on to October? Because she's got until October.
You know, personally, I would think it would be a good idea to set a much more specific date, regardless of what the outcomes of whatever these processes and negotiations or
what sort of time frame?
Well, I think the big problem we face, of course, is the car crash of the Euro elections coming at us. I don't know a single Conservative, not one Conservative on the streets, in the houses of the associations, even here in Parliament, not one Conservative that wants to fight the Euro elections. And the problem with the Euro elections is this, that we are the only party really occupying the space, political party, for Brexit. If we fight the Euro elections, with one bound we will have raised a Brexit party, and that will be a nightmare for us. You know, we got rid of UKIP by having the referendum, quite rightly, and by getting a decision made. What we don't want to do is resurrect the beast and actually say, look, the Conservatives are the only reasonable, decent party that believes in Brexit that can deliver this. We don't want to resurrect them in the EU.
So does that mean if you do fight the Euro elections, you believe then is the moment Mrs May would have to step aside?
Well, look, you know, that's a matter for everybody else to discuss. I don't represent the party on this matter. All I say was, she said she was going, she gave an outline date depending on the agreement. It's up to her and the 22 to decide whether or not they set a specific date. I think that would help, but that's a matter for them. I'm not urging, pressurizing it one way or the other, but I do simply say it is wholly feasible to get this withdrawal agreement resolved. The alternative arrangements work. These are not the same ones that they put forward before, and for them to brief against this, I think, is really despicable. What they should be doing now is engaging with the EU, saying, let's do this now. Germany wants them to do it, France wants them to do it. Why is the British government not engaging? They should engage right now and do it as a matter of urgency.
Okay, Iain Duncan Smith, thanks very much.